Are we being distracted from the real issues? Let's look at the history of government diversion strategies. Number 1. How it all started. Early diversion tactics. In the early days of modern government, leaders and politicians faced challenges in keeping public opinion in line. From the outset, some governments found that diverting public attention from more difficult issues made it easier to maintain power and avoid accountability. Since 1940s to 1960s, as media grew more influential, governments began using it strategically to sway public opinion. During and after World War II, governments would sometimes deflect attention from post war economic struggles by focusing on scare tactics or external threats. The media, mainly controlled by the state owned or state influenced outlets, was often used to create a specific narrative that served the political goals of those in power. For example, during the times of economic instability, attention would often be diverted towards minor social issues or international threats, so the public would not focus on the economic struggles or governmental inefficiency. Number 2, the rise of media and modern distractions between 1980s to 1990s. By the 1980s, the media became even more influential with the rise of television, news networks, and later the internet. Governments, particularly in Western democracies, realized how powerful media and public opinion could be. In the 1990s, 24-hour news channels like CNN provided a constant flow of information which gave politicians and governments a new platform for creating narratives. The more sensational the news, the more attention it gained. And that's when politicians began using media to redirect focus. For example, political scandals became a key tool for distraction rather than focusing on systematic issues like poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. The public would be captivated by celebrity scandals, political infighting, or temporary crisis. Number 3, the social media age, the power of the digital age. This is between 2000 till now. With the explosion of social media, diversion strategies evolved. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and later Instagram allowed politicians to directly influence people's opinion in real time. Social media manipulation. Governments and political leaders began using social media to manipulate narratives in subtle ways. Tweets, viral videos, and memes created emotional reactions that often distracted people from serious issues. By appealing to people's emotions, government could steer the focus away from topics that might hurt them, such as government corruptions, environmental disaster, or human rights abuses. Key diversion tactics used by the governments today. Number 4, the diversion tactics, how government control the narrative. Governments are experts at using diversion tactics to redirect focus and control public opinion. These tactics work because they play into people's natural emotions and biases. Let's break down some of the most common strategies used. Fake emergencies or manufactured scandals. Government may create or exaggerate a crisis to distract the public from more pressing issues. These emergencies are often exaggerated to strip up fear or anxiety. For example, during economic downturns, a government might promote fear of a foreign enemy, emphasizing national security over the economic policies that are failing citizens. A research scandal or fake emergency can be staged to shift attention. Polarizing debates. Government often amplify divisive topics to keep the public distracted. These topics seem urgent and important but are rarely solved. For example, in many countries, issues like immigration, race relations, or even celebrity political endorsement are constantly debated in the media, all while real problems like healthcare or education reforms are left unsolved. By keeping the public polarized, governments prevent collective action towards change. Celebrity distraction. When public attention focuses on a high profile figure or celebrity scandal, it becomes easier to avoid discussions about critical issues. For example, political leaders may avoid accountability by ensuring that the media devotes excessive coverage to a celebrity personal life, which distracts from the real problems facing society like income inequality or climate change. Let's look into some real world examples of government diversions. Brexit, the very famous one in the UK, the debate over Brexit often sidelined discussions about domestic issues such as wealth inequality and the future of the National Health Services (NHS). The ongoing fight over the EU referendum consumed so much political energy that issues like housing or economic inequality were often overlooked. You can read more about Brexit and its impact in the link that I have given in the video. The war on terror. After the 9/11 attack, the US government used the war on terror to focus national attention on security, creating fear of foreign threats. This distracted from the rising income inequality, poor healthcare systems, and other pressing domestic concerns. You can learn more about the war on terror on the link that I have provided in this video. Political scandals. Globally, political leaders have often utilized or even instigated scandals to deflect attention. The public is easily swayed by sensational stories, and government can use this for their advantage to prevent focus on larger systematic issues. Explore political scandals and their impact in the link that I have provided. Now, number 6, the Kennedy's example, a historical distraction. One of the most famous historical example of distraction tactics come from the administration of US President John F. Kennedy. In 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the US faced one of the most significant geopolitical challenges of the Cold War. The crisis was on the brink of escalating into a nuclear conflict. However, amidst this tension, Kennedy's administration skillfully used the media to focus attention on the international threat posed by the Soviet Union rather than internal issues. The Cuban Missile Crisis captured global attention, effectively masking domestic problems. The government heightened the narrative of nuclear conflict, shifting public attention away from the civil rights issue, economic challenges, and social unrest occurring inside the US. The crisis was framed as unifying moment for the country, diverting attention from internal dissension. By emphasizing this external crisis, Kennedy administration was able to rally the public behind the national unity, all while deflecting focus from the government's civil rights movement and ongoing social issues. It's a textbook example of how a national emergency can be manipulated to distract from domestic problems. You can read more about the Cuban Missile Crisis in the link that I have provided in the description. There are many examples you can Google. I am trying to avoid any political debate here. There are many countries following the same structure. So how we can avoid falling for it? Some practical solutions. Critical thinking is one of it. We must learn to think critically about the information we consume. When faced with sensational news, pause and ask yourself, is this the most important issue we should be focusing on? Demand accountability. As citizens, we must hold our leaders accountable, especially when they attempt to distract us. Stay informed and demand transparency from those in power. Focus on long-term solutions. Instead of falling for short-term distractions, focus on the root cause of issues like poverty, climate change, and inequality. These are the long-term problems that require sustainable attention and action. So, here is my conclusion. The true power of public focus. Governments aren't just distracting us, they are manipulating us. The reality is, government diversion strategies are not just creating distractions, they are about controlling the narrative to maintain power and avoid accountability. The next time you are caught up in the news cycle, ask yourself, what's the real issue? What's not being talked about? And how we can focus on long-term solution instead of temporary distractions. If you believe it's time for a real change, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for more insightful videos like this. Let's keep the conversation going.